Why setting healthy boundaries is important for your well being. Wow, I haven't really realized or dig deeper into this concept until I had the clarity that we only have enough time to do the things that we ought to do and be the person that God wants us to be. So, the concept of setting boundaries is not really explicitly mentioned in the Bible using specific terminology, but I want to start this discussion in there. The Bible emphasizes the personal responsibility for one's actions and decisions. In fact, in Galatians 6 5, it says, "For each will have to bear his own load." And as far as I can understand this passage, it is saying that we are directly responsible for managing our own lives and making choices, as well as setting appropriate limits. It means that we should be focusing on what we should focus, like on where we should give our time to, because as I've mentioned, we only have limited amount of time to do the things that we have to do according to our purpose. Thus, setting healthy boundaries is our personal responsibility. In Proverbs 25:28, the Bible is also saying that a man without self control is like a city broken into and left without walls. So, if we just if we are not mindful of what we do, and we just keep on saying yes to all the opportunities, we keep on saying yes to what other people want us to do, and we just say yes to all the invitations, then we for sure could burn out and break down. So we should be mindful in all our decisions. And that entails us to have self control. Christians are called to honor God in all areas of our lives, including setting boundaries. The Bible teaches the importance of discerning God's will and aligning one's boundaries and decisions with biblical principles. In fact, Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God and what is good and acceptable and perfect." So that only means that when we have the clarity to what is the will of God to our lives, then we should set boundaries to what we are just saying yes to. And through that, we are honoring our Maker. But then, setting boundaries should also be done with love and consideration for others. Jesus taught the commandment to love your neighbor as yourself in Mark 12:31. And it is just saying, or what this implies is that while setting boundaries is important, we should also, or it should also be done in a way that respects and cares for the well being of others. So when we say no to others, we should do it with all respect and with all the love that we could sprinkle to them. And so the Bible encourages the believers to seek wisdom and discernment in their decision making. Thus, in Proverbs 4:23, it says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And this verse encourages us to be vigilant in protecting our emotional and spiritual well being. Well, these principles provide biblical framework for understanding the importance of setting boundaries. It is essential to interpret and apply them in the context of specific situations and relationships. It is also helpful to seek guidance from our trusted spiritual leaders or mentors who can provide us additional insights into navigating boundaries from biblical perspective. I always want to start my podcast with, Bible verses, as always want to be, personally, I always want to be guided with biblical principles in everything I do. So, moving forward, here are the several reasons why setting healthy boundaries is important. And here we go. Number one, establishing boundaries allows us to provide our own needs and take care of ourselves. It helps prevent burnout for sure, stress, and emotional exhaustion by creating space for self reflection, relaxation, and activities that rejuvenate you, human as we are. We want rest. We need rest. Our body needs rest because if not, then eventually your body will just shut down, or you go to the hospital and your body will make you get some rest whether you like it or not. In my Facebook page, I have this free resource on how to avoid burnout without having to compromise your dreams. I know if you are just like me and you have a lot of dreams and you don't want to give up on them, but on the other hand, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. So sometimes you just want to give up on your dreams because you don't want to over overwhelm. But then, I was in the situation that I was, turned between the situation. Um, but then I had to find a way. I had to find a way to keep going and yet not to burn out. So if you want to check on that free resource, you can download it. You just go to www.yourenergybooster.com, or you go to my Facebook. You can find me, Janice Padilla, and I pinned that resource on top of my Facebook wall. So there you go. Setting boundaries is so important so you can take care of yourself while you take care of others. Number two, healthy boundaries demonstrate self respect. If you don't respect yourself, nobody will. Remember that and take note of that. Write that if you can. When you establish clear limits and communicate them effectively, you signal to others that you value yourself and expect to be treated with respect and dignity. That's what I'm saying. If you don't respect yourself, nobody will. Number three, boundaries serve as protective measures against exploitation, manipulation, and abuse. If you just keep on saying yes to everything, eventually people will abuse you, and you don't want that to happen. And when you feel like you're being abused, you will say you're already a victim, but mind you, you allowed it, so you're not a victim. By clearly defining what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior, you create a barrier that helps safeguard your physical, emotional, and mental being. That sometimes we just get exhausted and we blame others because we thought it was because of them. But I'm just telling you now, it was not because of them. It was because of us allowing them to do it to us. Boundaries contribute, well, yeah, this is number 4. Boundaries contribute to emotional stability by preventing others from intruding our emotional space. They enable you to differentiate between your own feelings and the emotions of others, reducing emotional overwhelm and fostering healthier emotional regulation. If we set healthy boundaries, we get emotionally healthy. And that's very important in our being. Number 5, setting boundaries improves the quality of our relationship. It promotes open communication, trust, and mutual understanding. By expressing our needs and limitations, we encourage healthier dynamics in more balanced interaction with others. And we can even do this with our spouse. You see, if we clearly tell them what are the unacceptable or unacceptable things for us that they do, and we clearly communicate that, then we get or we are helping our relationship to grow. Number 6, establishing boundaries empowers us to take control of our life and make decisions that align with our values and goals. It allows us to assert our autonomy and feel confident in our choices, leading to a greater sense of empowerment and personal development. You see, setting healthy boundaries is very important so we can grow, so we can be empowered, so we can do what God wants us to do and be the person that God wants us to be. We are not just driven by the wind, like where the wind blows us, there we go, but we have our own direction going to the goals and the vision that we have for our lives. And number 7, by setting boundaries, we create structure and focus in our life. It helps us allocate time and energy to activities that are important to us, enabling increased productivity and effectiveness in various areas of our life. So, if you're juggling your life, working a job, while being a mom or a parent, and then building business, you wouldn't overwhelm or burn out if you have clear boundaries and clear structure on the things that you just do because those things are the things that you intended to do, so you're not distracted of doing things that doesn't produce or is not for you. So if you are juggling things, you just do things. It makes you a better mom if you're a mom, and then you do great job or you when you're at work you just focus on the things that you are expected to do at work, and while you're building a business, you also allocate time that is productive for your business. So that is how good setting healthy boundaries is, gonna give to your life. And number eight, without boundaries, you might find yourself overextending or compromising too much, leading to feelings of resentment and frustration. And by setting and maintaining healthy boundaries, you prevent these negative emotions from building up. You don't want those negative emotions. Those negative emotions are dragging you down, and we don't want it in our lives. That will lead to more harmonious relationships and healthier emotional state. Remember, I just want you to remember this because you may find yourself guilty and so selfish when you set healthy boundaries. It is not being selfish or disconnected from others. It's just about finding a balance that respects both your needs and the needs around you. Remember, you cannot bring the best to the world, the best of yourself to the world, if you are falling apart yourself. You need to be whole so you can make an impact to humanity. Clarity is power. Knowing who you are and focusing on your vision and mission in life can tremendously help you on living that abundant life that God wants you and promised you to have in Jeremiah 29:11. I hope you are getting a lot of value in this episode. And if you think this is very helpful, feel free to share this to your friends. And again, congratulations on finishing this episode. What about you tap yourself on your back and say, "Great job. You are learning something today to a more bigger and greater life that you can have in the future." Do not underestimate what you can do 10 years from now. Because we always overestimate what we can do in a year, but underestimate what we can do for 5 years. Keep on growing. Keep on fighting for that nugget of dreams that you have in your heart. You got this, and I got your back. I wanted to connect with you. Feel free to connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, if you want to know more about how I can help you, um, check my website at www.janicepadilla.com. I love you, and I am rooting for you. God bless. Bye.